Hello, wonderful world. It's Jennifer here at Eureka Astrology and Healing, and today I'm going to be talking about the current astrology as well as the Pisces full moon partial lunar eclipse. That partial lunar eclipse is September 17th, 2024 at 9:34 p.m. Central Standard Time. And first I just want to say that I know I've been gone for a while and I just had to take a break. I feel like the astrology really indicated that it was just time to go in and rest a little bit because I was doing a lot in the outward world and I didn't have a lot of time to create my videos. And so if you're watching this, I thank you for checking back in. And with that, it's been since early spring, mid-spring since I've made a video. And at that time, planets were moving forward, meaning there's a lot of things getting done. There's a lot of action moving forward, moving. And now, that's not such the case. There are many planets retrograde. And what does that mean? Well, on an energetic level, because I like to think of things energetically, is that things are going inward. And when I look at the chart here, I see that the planets that are retrograde, meaning they're going backwards in the sky, so to speak, they look like they are, they're moving their direction backwards, but they're actually stronger because they're in respects to how it affects us because it's closer to the planet. But think of the word redo, rest. Kind of goes in with that retrograde. And all these planets that are retrograde right now are outer planets. And outer planets are ones that are slower moving and have sometimes a subtler effect on us energetically, emotionally, spiritually, all those things. But it's deep and long lasting. And I'm finding it a little bit fascinating that right now we're kind of being asked to redo a lot of the energies that are really creating our scaffolding and our deeper presence within the world. And just to kind of name a few, so Saturn being retrograde. Saturn is actually boundaries, and right now it's in Pisces, and so it's like, where are our boundaries in our limitless dream almost? And which is, I mean, seems a little bit paradoxical here, but Saturn is in Pisces, coming in, bringing in boundaries to the vision, to the dream, to the endless, limitless kind of world. And it's a little uncomfortable, and I think people are a little uncomfortable right now trying to figure out how can we have a solid foundation yet still be open enough to receive some of these greater mysteries and be open and flexible to not knowing. It can feel a little bit shaky, but so that's retrograde, so that's a strong feeling right now. And these all kind of come into play when I talk about aspects in a little bit, which I don't want to go too deeply in, but there's some fairly strong aspects in this full moon. So we also have Neptune retrograde in Pisces. And again, it kind of harkens to the dream. It's like, let's redo it. Let's revisit it. Is this really working? And in a way, I feel like Saturn can help with that. It's like, well, where are my boundaries when it comes to things? Like, maybe I do need them sometimes because Pisces is very much very like the ether and the mystical realms. And Saturn's coming in and saying, yes, these are wonderful realms, but guess what? If you're in human form or any other living biological, you've got some boundaries, and that's called a body, just to start with. And of course, we could debate about this for a long time, but in the end, it's trying to figure out how to be in this world and be, spiritual and enlightened, yet still, make sure that we have our sovereignty and our autonomy. And so redoing those. Uranus, this on a very practical level, this one is in Taurus. We could be rethinking how we work with our money, with our resources, and again, it could be our body as well. What are we doing with these things? Uranus has been in Taurus for quite some time now, since 20, I want to say, is it 17 or 18? And it's going to be moving out next year. So it's kind of getting near the end of its 7-year cycle. And it's trying to really help us shake hold of what we value, and also maybe bring in new things and letting go of these old things that we shouldn't really be valuing anymore. But it's different for everybody. You have to remember, these are all in different places of people's charts. So if you know where these things land, you can apply it more logically, so to speak, within your day-to-day life and practically. And the last one that's retrograde is Pluto, and this is the slowest moving planet, and it is slow, but it's very powerful. And this is in Capricorn, and it's the last time it's going to be in Capricorn for like 260 some years. That has been there since 2007, and this is the last time it's dancing in there. This is wrapping it up, and this is power again within boundaries and where we're showing up in the world as a leader, where we have authority, where we get the work done, which is interesting. Like, where's that place where maybe you've been struggling with getting the work done? Where is your power within that situation? Own it and move forward with it. It might be slow, but it's okay. Work with it. And that's really what I want to say about these retrogrades, is that it's slow, but it's happening, and it's going to be impactful. So look for these places in your life where you're being asked to redo, reset. And the other part I wanted to say is that it's interesting because all of the personal planets, so the faster moving planets, are all direct right now. So things are happening. It's not like we just have to totally go into our shell. These planets like Mars is like our action where we're getting things done. It's moving, it's moving, it's moving. And right now it's in Cancer, so it might be about caring, nurturing, where you need to be nurtured, where others need to be nurtured. But so these planets that are, they say, calm, personal, they move fast and they're all moving forward. So we're getting things done on the day to day. But again, think more deeply about what's going on in your bigger picture. And those around you too. Not that you can control it, but acknowledge it and witness. Maybe there's some deep transformations with people right now. And so then I looked at the aspects in this full moon. And first of all, let's point out what a full moon is. It's the sun opposing the moon. The moon is fully illuminated. And let's think about what the energy of this whole season is in large, like a notable, as I'd like to call them, is that the sun is in Virgo. And also Mercury, which is rules Virgo. So there's a lot of detail-oriented things going on, not only on this day, but the past weeks before this, because this full moon is at the tail end of the Virgo season. But like, where do you need to purge stuff? You might have noticed in the last few weeks, you've been organizing, sifting, sorting, getting rid of things you don't need anymore. What does not work? What is just extra fluff, get rid of it, get it gone. So that sun, that's what's being illuminated. And on the other side is this moon in Pisces. And that's about, and so this is also actually called the healer's moon. It is about healing, but on kind of a more energetic level, being very in tune with all the energies and how you can go about with it with service. And it's not just like one person or two people, it's many people. It's the dreamer, it's the mystic, it's the artist. And highlighting how these deep intuitive gifts can be used for healing for good, whether for yourself or for others, and also finding that balance of not totally getting lost in the Pisces part where it's just gets way out there and can't find a practical way to bring in that healing message. The Virgo sun is like, here, you're having this dream and vision, I'm going to help bring it into reality and make it practical. So this is the positive side of this full moon. I mean, there's also tension because one side just wants to dream and the other side just wants to get their work done. So there's going to be a tension there possibly that day. So try and find the balance. But this is a partial eclipse. And I don't want to go in it too deeply, but we are technically in the Aries Libra eclipse season. But what happens is it wobbles at the tail end of every cycle, which is like a year and a half or so, and then it switches signs. And so technically the nodes in the moon, which cause the eclipse, so to speak, are still in Aries and Libra, but the moon and the sun are close enough to the nodes, but in the neighboring signs, Pisces and Virgo. So the moon's not going to be totally phased out, but part of it. And so whenever there's an eclipse, you have to remember I always think of it as like the new moon. It's dark, so something's illuminated, and all of a sudden that light's taken away. Like you see something, but you can't. So at this time, especially because it's in Pisces, you can think about your dream first and foremost. Like you can see it, but there's something kind of hidden, right? Like you're not quite sure. And I've heard the word liminal a lot lately, and it almost has that feeling of the liminal. Like I know I'm supposed to be doing something, but I'm not quite sure. But I also feel like it's revealing. I know the full moons shine bright light at night, but I feel like that this, that when eclipses happen, stuff is often revealed. Like, I think about when the tides pull back and there you see the bottom of the sea. Like, there's things that are hidden. So I'm sensing again that there are always things that are bigger for some people, depending on your chart, that are going to be revealed. With that too, there's very strong aspects because Mercury's in Virgo, so we'll really be careful not getting too anxious. I could see this being a very potentially anxious moon because Mercury is in Virgo. It's opposing Saturn, so we're feeling the responsibility for the boundaries in the dream, but at the same time we really want to be practical and we could just get a little too into the details. So try to relax, try to breathe, don't let that tension stress you out, and just take a moment, take a pause. But then there's also, within this chart, and of course the sun and the moon are opposing each other, there's this beautiful, it's a little bit of a loose kite, is what they call a kite, a trine and a sextile combined, where there's some harmony and there's a lot of opportunity. And so what I'm seeing is that we are bringing about, and it has to do with a lot of those retrograde planets, like that we have the ability, the practicality, pardon me, I'm doing this on the fly, practicality of Virgo feeding into Pluto. So we are going towards our responsibility and where we're leading in the world. We have the energy and the drive to know how to do it in a practical way with that Virgo, getting rid of the things we don't need. So two very earthy, practical signs, harmonious, right? Then we have Uranus coming into here in that same aspect. It's bringing change. It's like, okay, we're going to do this in a different way. We're going to use our resources differently. We're going to respect them more. We're not going to waste as much, or whatever it is. We're going to see things in a whole new light. We're going to value ourselves more. So this can help us. These are all on Earth, notice. These are going to help really bring something solid together if you take this opportunity to use it. And then the sextile goes into the moon, actually, and that's the dream. And so it's like the dream is there and it might be kind of hidden, but like utilize it. Let that dream be the joyous part of all the practicality that's going on within that trine. I see that as really positive. Now we do have, again, that Saturn Mercury opposition, and so I feel like we can make it happen, this beautiful dream with all these practical abilities and powers and newfound sense of value and resources, as long as we don't get stuck in our head. I could see people getting depressed at this time. I could see people getting really anxious at this time. And again, depends on your chart. And so trying to step back and realize that these are energies that are okay to feel and process, but look for the deeper cause. Remember I talked about, and safely always, that things are kind of being redone. Like, what is being asked of you to be, like, what scaffolding needs to be redone? What are your boundaries? Sometimes it's really hard and really uncomfortable for people to put out boundaries because they might not be liked, they might get hurt. You know, there's the tribal mentality of I might get abandoned, I might not have anything. Try not to get into that fear, right? And also, again, with the Virgo, it actually likes to be more alone, and it might have that energy of, I just need to pull away, I just need to do this, and then they start thinking and thinking and thinking and thinking how things need to be fixed and fixed and fixed, and that's something to be watchful for. Try not to think so much that you never take the first step. That has to be perfect, and if you don't make it perfect, you're not moving forward. That could be really stunting at this time. And honestly, there are more aspects. Those are the ones I want to really highlight. I think it's a really beautiful chart in a lot of ways. I can see some of the tensions in the chart. Full moons, people usually do get more on edge. This isn't like an Aries full moon where there might be more hostility. This is, Pisces, where there's more dreaming, but it could be someone getting lost in the dream or lost into too many of the details in the Virgo. Don't get lost in the other world. Keep your feet on the ground. Use the trine. That's in Earth. One last note, there is a lot of yin energy in this chart, and so we talked again, to wrap it up, going inward. It's a going inward time. We're going into fall. It's time to obviously still get the harvest, reap the harvest. That's very Virgoian, but we're about to get some, I think, good rest here. Use it. Don't be afraid of it. Don't think that it's less than doing, right? Doing's not always the best thing for us. With that, I think I'm gonna wrap it up. Thanks for joining me. If you watch it, for a little or a lot. I appreciate it, and I'll try to do more, and I'll try to see if I can update my format as well and see if I can make this more exciting. Thank you so much. I'm Jennifer from Eureka Astrology and Healing. May the stars guide you and the planets ground you. Ciao for now.